2023 is going to be a fantastic year for Nintendo for a lot of reasons. You know, we got Zelda coming around the corner, but this isn't a review on Zelda. This is a review on Fire Emblem Engage, published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. What's going on, you guys? Lord Ad here, coming at you with another review. Today we're going to be reviewing Fire Emblem Engaged. First off, let's go over a little history with me and Fire Emblem. I don't have a whole lot of history. For the most part, Three Houses was the very first review I ever did. It was on my other channel, Gaming Addict. You can definitely go look at that if you guys want to. So when it comes to Fire Emblem Engaged, because I enjoyed Three Houses so much, I knew this was going to be my type of game. This is going to be a game that really entices me, and this is the review on that game. Now, let's talk about the performance first off. We have said this over and over on the IOP channel. We have said it multiple times on this review. Nintendo, we need a new Switch. We need something that's going to play these games better. At first, it wasn't as bad because your guys' game ran pretty flawlessly on the platform, but now even your games are having a little trouble. Did that mean this game ran horribly? No. I will say this is one of the better performing Nintendo Switch games that I've played in the past maybe year and a half, but what I will say, you could tell the game was struggling. It was struggling a lot in terms of pop-ins. Loading screens was ridiculous. Clearly, this isn't on an SSD of any sort. I just want Nintendo to do better when it comes to this hardware and upgrade the hardware so we can get better performing games. At this point, I don't mind the way the majority of the Nintendo Switch games look like. You know, aesthetically, I feel like the graphics for the most part always do well. It's just the performance. And right now, we need a new Switch. So get on that, Nintendo. Now let's talk about the story of Fire Emblem Engaged. You are a character known as the Divine Dragon. You start the game out going with your emblem. It's Marth from the original Fire Emblem. Keep in mind, I didn't know about this when I first started playing the game. Like I said, I didn't play the old Fire Emblem, so I didn't know Marth was a main character of anything. But you end up fighting this enemy, and once he's defeated, it looks like you go in some form of sleep. 1,000 years goes by or some huge amount of time, and then you are resurrected. You are pretty much the yin and yang of a character called the Fell Dragon, and what that pretty much is the main antagonist of the game. And that's pretty much going into it without really spoiling much of anything. I don't want to spoil nothing for you guys. Now, I actually say I like this story. I thought the story was a well-told story. Very loving and engaging conversations. There's really good characters in this game. I think that Fire Emblem Engage did a very good job telling the narrative of this story. You know, the gameplay definitely adds on to it. There's a lot of side missions that you can do in the game. Pretty much there's just mission after mission. It's kind of like a structure on a map that go from one place to another. Now, Three Houses wasn't like this, but I was told that, you know, the older games generally went towards something like this. I don't know if that's true or not. Now, I see a lot of comparisons on Twitter and stuff talking about whether or not, you know, Three Houses or they like Engage more. Now, as far as just the story, I would actually say I would push more towards the Three Houses storyline. That doesn't mean this story's bad. I think this story's great, but I do think that there was more plot twist going on in Three Houses than there was going on in this game. Like I said, that doesn't make this game bad in any way, shape, or form in terms of story, but I would say that I kind of favored the other one over this one. Now let's talk about the gameplay. You guys know how I am. Gameplay is over everything, and this gameplay is fantastic, man. You know, first off, let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's called the emblems. Now, pretty much what the emblems are is characters from previous Fire Emblem games. The only thing I wish they would have done is be a little bit more discreet on, you know, telling the story of some of these characters. They did do it to a point, but I wish they would have had like their own storyline. Now, pretty much what happens is every time you get a new emblem, on the map somewhere opens up another mission that belongs to a certain emblem that you have. It could be the new one you have, or maybe that's a previous one that you haven't done. But what I liked about this is it was very challenging engagements. Keep in mind, the challenge rate in this game is pretty high. I would honestly say if you don't really keep up to date on the mechanics in the game, you're going to get destroyed. You know, they have a rock, paper, scissors mentality on this game where, you know, if you have a bow, you can actually take air support down pretty fast. You know, sword break shield. I'm pretty sure it was sword on shield, but you guys get the gist of it. Every character's got a counter to another character. And the cool thing about this is the emblems will actually open up more gameplay later on down the line. So for instance, certain emblems are good with other weapons. So if you're having a really bad time with a certain unit on the field and your emblem actually has his weakness, it's probably best for you to go ahead and engage, get to that weapon, and then go ahead and take down that enemy. One thing I have noticed about Fire Emblem Engage that I don't really remember if it was on 3 houses or not, it was a long time since I played that game, is the amount of overwhelming force that the enemies have. They kind of give that, you know, you're fighting your way up the hill battle the entire game, where the evil forces are by far more of a menace than you are because they have just simply more people. And then there'll be certain people in the game that have their own emblems, you know. Now, I really like the tug of war between the good side and the bad side on how many one set has of emblems, how many the other set have emblems, and you can really tell that you are fighting your way uphill, and there's a point in the story where you realize, okay, maybe it is possible to defeat these people. And like I said, there is a lot of combat you can do on here. There is missions that are constantly popping up. You got the emblem side missions, you got side missions in general, you got just random battles that you can have on the map. This game does a good job on giving you stuff to do, giving you grinding opportunities, letting you upgrade equipment, letting you change classes. There's a huge class system in here. I will say that they probably should have did a better job explaining the class system, because it took me a couple hours to really grasp the way that you upgrade certain people, because it's not originally filtered to what you can do on your actual character. It's filtered to all of them, and maybe just level it up to the characters that you can level up next to, or the characters that you can cross level up to. And I feel like that's a better system than just showing them all, because it's a little bit more of overwhelming sensation on, man, there's all these characters and I don't really know how to unlock any of them. But it comes with the territory. About, I would say, a couple hours into it, you'll definitely know where all of these are. I would say that the UI is pretty good on that too. They do have a pretty good tutorial on here. It's just the class system, to me, they could have did a little bit better on. Now they have a hub world. It's kind of like the monastery from houses. Now pretty much what goes on here is you're able to buy equipment to level up your actual weapons. You can go here because the emblems will be here and level up their bonds as well. There's actual bond system where you can do certain abilities. There's a emblem system where you can actually craft other style rings with the current ones that you currently have. There's a lot of depth into this system, and I really, hats off to them, man. You know, these type of games are really fun when they give you all of these options, and they really let you play this game how you want to play it. One thing I really want to go over in terms of the gameplay is the animations on this. You know, it's a very beautiful game when stuff goes on. There's a lot of fighting animations. There's some really cool pictures and really cool videos that you can make when, you know, it looks like everything's going downhill. These people are about to just completely demolish you, and your star character just dodges 5 attacks on 5 different enemies and just wipes them all out. It's a really nice feeling when stuff like that happens, and to be honest with you, it doesn't happen in a lot of these type of games, but I feel like Fire Emblem really does a good job on that with 3 houses, now Engage, where they really do this kind of grid space combat justice for the most part. I would actually say that if you want to get technical on these type of Nintendo games, Nintendo got this type of style locked. You know, they got this, they have the Mario Rabbids game that just came out. If you want to play these style games, you really can't go anywhere else but the Nintendo Switch when it comes to these style games. But you know, that's pretty much the review on Fire Emblem Engaged. I think the story was a pretty good story. Not as good as Fire Emblem 3 Houses, but it was still a pretty solid foundation. I really enjoyed playing what I played on it. I feel like the graphics was extremely well detailed in this game, especially animations and fighting certain enemies on here. Now, you know, obviously we could have done better when it comes to performance. Nintendo, you need to get on that. We need a new Switch. We need something to run these games better. You guys got so many good games. We need hardware to run them correctly. And I actually feel like when it comes to this game, it's definitely worth the money. Look, it's $60, but I do feel like there's content here. There's enough reason to play these. Now, Now, if you don't like these style games, maybe this isn't the right game for you. If you want something to play on the Nintendo Switch, I would suggest picking this up and, you know, try it out. If you don't like it, you know not to get anything like this in the future. But what I will say is they did a good job on this. I do think this is worth your money if you like these style games. If not, I definitely understand you wanting to wait for a sale whenever Nintendo decides to make sales on their games and try it for a lower cost. Maybe you could try Three Houses. You know, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the same concept to a lot of degree. And if you like that game, then commit to this game. That's probably what I would suggest if you don't play these games. Try Three Houses first. You could probably get that a lot cheaper, and then try this game after that game, because I feel like if you like Three Houses, or if you like, you know, XCOM to a point, that type of gameplay, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's a grid style, man. I think you'll enjoy this game. Anyway, that's the review for you guys. I really enjoyed this. It didn't run the greatest on the Nintendo Switch, but I enjoyed every second of it. Put in the comment section below, are you guys fans of Fire Emblem? I'm very curious to hear your guys' opinion down there. And don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, if you enjoyed it. You can always subscribe to the channel. We do weekly podcasts every Sunday at 1 p.m. You can catch the Lords talking about gaming in general. And until next time, this is Lord Addict, and I'm out of here. Peace.